Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Get to Know UIC, Get to Know United in Christ. Today I have the joy of being joined by Lisa and Mark. Lisa, Mark, thank you so much for taking the time today to come and hang out with us. This is very cool.
No problem. Glad to be here.
Excellent. Now, I know that some folks probably are aware, but this is very cool because it is nice to hear from our current congregational president. So, Lisa, congratulations, by the way, on being elected to church council president this year. I don't know that you realized that when you were voted into that office, you'd be overseeing a year of global pandemic. So, well done. Thank you for helping us navigate this time together. And I hope this is a chance for folks to get to know our council president in a new way today. So, thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
I'm not saying I'm blaming you for this. I don't think this was on your agenda either. So I think we're okay on that on that front. But for folks who don't know, how long has it been for the two of you? I mean, you've both shared leadership roles in the congregation now, but how long have you been connected with the congregation? How long have you been a part of life at United in Christ?
We came back from Kentucky in 1989,
Okay.
and that's when we joined in at New Columbia.
Okay. There you go.
And we have been with the church ever since.
That's very cool. That's very cool. So you're going on 31 years of being connected with this community of faith. If I'm doing my math right, 1989 coming back from Kentucky. That's very cool. So what took you to Kentucky in the first place?
I went down there for work with the prison system.
Okay, there you go.
And when we got down there, we got more involved in church because we didn't have any family or anything down there.
Sure.
So we got very involved with church down there, and we found a small Lutheran church.
Neat.
And we were very active in that, too.
That's very cool. And that's very cool because that can be such a gift of what congregations can offer, right? For folks who are transient, who are moving around because of jobs or whatever, like it offers that sense of community from the get-go when you don't have family around, when you don't have inherent connections and friends in the area. That's really cool. And I'm glad you were able to find that in Kentucky.
And that whole church was pretty much people like us.
Yeah.
Neat. Very
It was
cool.
all people that were had moved into the area, most of them,
Yeah.
for work, Armco Steel, and
Okay.
what's the other big company that was down there? It was a gas company.
Okay.
Ashland Oil.
Gas.
Ashland
Okay.
Oil was down there.
Very cool. Very cool.
A lot
So
of a lot of fancy people
yeah,
coming in now.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And again, that's kind of what the church can be an anchor for a lot of those communities, right? So,
hmm
so what was it then about at the time New Columbia? What made New Columbia appear on your radar? What made you go check them out when you returned back to the area, and what made you want to connect with them when you arrived back?
When I grew up, I belonged to Christ Lutheran downtown Lewisburg.
Oh, there you
It's
go.
a big, big church.
Yeah, yeah,
After being in the small church in Kentucky and realizing how close you could get to people,
absolutely.
when we came back, we felt we needed something smaller that we could connect with everybody in the congregation.
That's cool. That's very cool. Uh,
Yeah, the small churches are a little bit more sense of family.
yeah,
It seems like an extended family to us, especially after being down there, and that group became our family down
yeah,
there.
absolutely, right. That you spend so much time with that same community, especially when you don't have those roots laid down, they quickly become that system of support that your family always typically fills for you, right? And the smaller that group, the more intimate that becomes, right? And I think that's one of the real values we have as a congregation is our ability to kind of be that system where you are known for who you are because we have few enough people that we can get to know people on that level, right? And
Yep. Larger churches don't have that advantage on us. We actually know the people that are in our congregation. When you're
exactly.
a member of a big church, you're just a person.
Right, right. In a lot of places, you can just show up on a Sunday morning and leave without being noticed or taking stock or anything like that. And for some, that's what they want, right? For some people, they prefer that sense of anonymity to be able to just kind of move on through, and that's okay. And I'm glad there are churches that can provide that for them. But in congregations like ours, like you can bet your bottom dollar, people are going to know and miss you if you're not there. And then when they do see you, they are going to celebrate your presence among us, right? And they'll go out of their
Yeah.
way to make sure you know you have a place here. That's
Yeah.
very cool.
And in a smaller church, you are more involved. In the larger churches, you can go in and worship and leave, and
Sure.
never, nobody would know what you were thinking or how you felt.
Yeah, yeah. We in the smaller churches like ours, we need each other, right? We need each other to get involved and kind of pave the way and really partner together for the sake of ministry and the life of the congregation. Yeah, absolutely. So what is it then? What is it about the life of this congregation that has made you want to keep coming back for these 30 some years now? What is it that makes you want to invest your time and energy and even serve in leadership positions? What makes you want to be a part of the life of this congregation here?
You want to? Well, again, to me, it's a sense of family that's there, and we've gotten to know all the people in this church. Even when we were at New Columbia, and then we combined the two churches, it was just a group of people that we felt comfortable with.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And that sense of comfort is really important when you get into church.
Totally.
In my opinion.
No, absolutely. Again, like you don't want to come across as a stranger. You don't want to come across as somebody that you feel out of place in your community of faith. So that level of comfort and being known is incredibly important as we gather together. That's very cool. That's very cool. Oh, Lisa, I thought you were going to say something else. That's all right.
Well, I was thinking about the caring end of it, because like when Mark was sick,
yeah,
people really cared.
Yeah.
There was so much outpouring of love, and in a big church, it would have been like, send him a card or whatever.
Right. Yeah, we'll put him on the prayer list, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was going to be my next question, right? Because part of this is part of that investment and being connected with these communities is then understanding how these communities have affected us, right? So what has this congregation, what has this community of faith meant to you in your own lives together? What has the being connected meant for you over the years?
Well, it gave us a little bit of a sense of purpose too, because as a member of the church, we did a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had a lot of different outreaches over the years.
For sure.
And the kids were involved back years ago, and now that they're not involved anymore, it's a little different.
Sure.
We're not as involved in the youth activity end of it, but we're still involved a lot in the church and the projects that we do.
Oh yeah, I was going to say and that's what we've heard from so many folks is that there are so many ways to be engaged across all sorts of stages of life's journey, right? Sure, your children are now grown adults and some are moving away, right? And maybe not connected in the same ways as they once were, but that doesn't mean that the two of you can't be, right? And so sure, you're not invested in youth ministry things happening as much, but boy howdy, you've found new ways to plug in over the years, right? So for the two of you, what have been those exciting moments? Where have you seen God at work in places where you knew you just had to plug in, where you had to get involved, or where you felt like you wanted to kickstart something in the midst of all of that?
I pretty much my big things are the Mother's Day banquet and the soup.
Yeah, big time, right?
The soup, to me, that's an important part of our I don't know how you put it. Our ministry.
Yeah.
We get out there and it exposes us to the public.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's important.
That's one of the coolest, and I very much think of it as a kind of annual marker for this congregation, right? There are big events that like you can almost set your clock to at United in Christ. Things like the Daughters Banquet, the Sons Banquet, the Ham and Bean Soup Sale, the Crop Walk, the Turkey Waffle Dinners, the work days, like all of these things, the Rich Huff Auction, right? These things very much like help mark time for us. But what I think people don't often realize is that most of these events, like, they are not for the sake of building ourselves up. Like the Ham and Bean Soup, for example, right? Like the amount of time and energy and investment it takes for our community to make that happen, from getting all the supplies, from cooking. How many kettles did you do this past year worth of soup?
Either 4 or 5.
Those giant kettles, right? Like we're talking these huge things. 5 this and then selling it. But I think people often forget, like, we don't keep a dime of that, right? Every penny of that is used for the sake of unleashing God's mission in the world by giving it away. and providing that glimpse of new life into our community. So remind folks, because I'm trying to rack my brain, where recently has that money gone? Where all have we sent those funds in the past couple of years?
We did it to hurricane relief one year.
You're right. Yep, we did following.
We did it to my favorite charity, which was Hope Lodge.
Hope Lodge, yes.
And Habitat for Humanity got the majority of that.
Oh yeah.
We've given them, I think, over 25,000.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know. I over the years, right? Because I know that almost every year we're talking about almost $2,000 every year that gets given away because of this ministry, right? To go and support Lutheran disaster relief. I remember it was one of the first ones, and then Hope Lodge. So that, and I loved that one because that was a reflection of what you had received so much, and being able to return that to the community, I think was a celebration for our community to be able to support in that way. I thought that was very cool. But I mean, it's just astonishing because when you do the math and you sit down, you've been doing this for how many years now? The ham and bean soup sale?
More than 15.
More than 15. So. And so, but I mean, by your count, then, like that's almost $30,000 that's just been given away, right? Given back into our communities for the sake of sharing that love and light of Christ among us, and that's just so cool, right? And I'm so glad you've been a part of that.
I think it's about that because I know Habitat for Humanity got a lot of money from us over the years.
Pastor Katrina still here when we were doing it?
Yeah.
So it goes back to Pastor Katrina.
Wow.
For sure.
Yeah. That 15 years puts us in that range for sure. That's so cool. That's very, very cool.
The neat thing about it too is how so many people come together to help with it.
Yes.
And it's not work; it's fun.
It is. It's so much fun. If y'all haven't been a part of it, y'all got to try it out this year. It's a riot. We have so much fun. I love watching the guys cooking, and then Saturday at the festival itself is just a blast.
And I think over the years we've gotten more and more help as time goes by. Just a lot more people are getting involved, which I really like to see.
Exactly.
Maybe down the road they could look at doing it at like. I thought about Chris Kindle sometime.
Oh, now there's a big fish for you.
Yeah.
There's Mark's white whale. So if you want to help Mark make that one happen, we'll see if we can plug in and grow into Chris Kindle Mart. That would be wild, wouldn't it?
No. That's a neat place to put it out there.
For sure, absolutely. So then as you think about this, right? As you think about what does lie down the road for United in Christ, what are your hopes and dreams for this community? What are your hopes for this congregation? You know, Lisa, as council president, you've certainly seen a lot of intersections. You've seen the energy where we're spending our time and energy and resources right now, and you've gotten to have some of those, I think, very life-giving conversations in the past years. And Mark, from your engagement as well, certainly there are places where I would hope you would want to see God continue moving. So where are those places for you? Where do you want to see the Spirit kind of unleash the energy here at United in Christ and in this community?
I'd like to see the youth keeping involved the way they are.
Yeah.
I just love seeing those guys do all the different activities they're doing.
Absolutely. And it's a blast trying to keep up with them too sometimes.
I can't imagine you'd have a problem with that.
You'd be surprised. It takes a lot of a little certain something to keep us going with all of that, and that'll get us through, though.
Well, one of the things I'd like to see is maybe I'd like to see us get a little more involved in some community activity things, where we could maybe get involved with more Habitat with Humanity, or either going out helping somebody that needs some help around their house.
Yeah.
Just doing a little project. I mean, we used to go on mission trips.
Yeah.
When there was disasters and stuff, they went to South Dakota, they went to Virginia.
Yeah.
You guys went this summer.
Yeah, and I know it was a joy for those participants. You know, we spent that week up in Buffalo, and we partnered with Habitat for Humanity, and there's something nice about that tangible, tactile service for our neighbors, right? And even on like God's Work Our Hands days, the couple times when we've gone and just served our neighbors in the area, just even clearing out landscaping or painting new ramps into homes, like that's really cool stuff to be a part of. And it's always nice to see that taking place, right? To have those tactile projects to be able to accomplish. That's very cool. I think there are always more and new creative ways to be able to reach out and lift up our neighbors like that. Very cool. Well, I tell you what. Oh, go ahead.
I really enjoyed like our joint activities that we did this winter.
Yeah.
The other churches. I thought that was really neat to see two churches, two different congregations coming together.
Yeah, Mr. Rogers that was a nice thing to get together with that church.
Yeah, it's been really life-giving.
And the celebration on the hill.
Yeah, exactly. You know, how do we be a church that's as a whole body in relationship with our partners around us, right? We don't necessarily need to reinvent the wheel on things, but like we could partner with others and encourage their ministries and support one another mutually like that, right? And I hope we're seeing those inroads, because that was a blast working with St. Paul's UCC and Pastor Tim over there for the Mr. Rogers study. And I hope it opens up to a lot of cool opportunities for us to think about how we can be in ministry and partnership together. Likewise, celebrating worship there with St. Peter's across the street. That was really cool. That was a cool way of marking time and history in our area together. So I like that. Yeah, I think there are, again, and maybe there's a way that all of these passions and interests can overlap in terms of how do we now do ministry together, not just kind of get together for the sake of studies, but how do we engage with one another for the larger community? I think there's some real possibility there. That would be very cool. Very cool. Thank you. Well, I always give everyone one last chance before the end to share any parting words, any words of wisdom, anything they'd like to share with the congregation. So, Mark and Lisa, this is your chance. If you would like to share with anything with the folks at home, now's your opportunity to do so.
All I want to say is please stay safe. I miss seeing everybody.
Absolutely.
I agree with that. I miss seeing everybody.
And I'll third that.
What we have at church is very important.
Yeah.
And we miss it.
Yeah, absolutely. But Lisa,
we miss everybody else out there.
What's that?
I said we miss everybody else out there. It's, I miss going after church. I miss going out for lunch.
Yeah.
Stomach food.
Yeah, there's a whole system of rituals that doesn't stop when we end worship, right? The gatherings that take place afterwards. Yeah. But Lisa, your preface was right? Stay safe so that we can get back to that sooner rather than later, right? We got to be taking these measures to do what we can to keep all of our neighbors safe. And ironically, I mean, that's exactly how we're going to meet our communities right now. If our passion is to lift up our neighbors, part of that is by staying away from them for the time being, so that we can let this thing pass through, and so we can stay safe and our neighbors can stay safe, and then we can work towards getting back together again. And that'll be a great joy to see taking place. So thank you for that, and thanks for sharing in this time today. It's been a blast hanging out with y'all. And hopefully we'll get back to seeing each other sooner rather than later. But in the meantime, God's continued peace and blessings through the days ahead. Lisa and Mark, once again, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been a blast. Absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure. And we'll see you later. Talk to you later. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
All right. See you. Stay healthy.